This is a KMVT Sports presentation.
San Jose State University Event Center Arena, the scene of tonight's Division II Central Coast Section Girls Basketball Championship game between two rivals out of the Santa Clara Valley Athletic League Neanza Division, the St. Francis Lancers and the Homestead Mustangs. Hello again, everyone. We're glad that you've tuned in on KMVT. My name is George Devine. Joining me tonight, Lance Roll and Lance. These two clubs split their regular season matchup, St. Francis winning at the Rascon Memorial and then Homestead winning on their home floor. Tonight, a very meaningful rubber game between these two ball clubs.
Right, Homestead's going to look to full court pressure most of the game. The key is going to be if St. Francis can break that pressure, get the ball inside, and take advantage of their two big players and going against Hillary Parker for Homestead.
Those two players Lance mentions are Nikki Heil and Heather Goodell Kelly. They've got a tough task tonight with Parker, averaging double figures in both scoring and rebounding.
Right, and also Bree Ahern might be available tonight. And if she is, St. Francis is going to go at her, maybe slide some guards down the post and try to post her up as well.
Ahern with a partial ACL tear was being evaluated through the latter part of the week. Coach Ernie Dosa said it would be a game-time decision on whether she'd play or not tonight. So when we come back on KMVT, Homestead and St. Francis for all the marbles in the 1997 Girls Division II CCS Championship bracket. Welcome back to the Event Center at San Jose State University. George Devine with you alongside of Lance Roll just ahead of the tip-off between the St. Francis Lancers and the Homestead Mustangs. These two clubs no strangers to each other. As we mentioned a moment ago, they split their regular season series. They finished 2-3 right behind Monta Vista in the Neanza Division standings. Monta Vista, of course, losing last night to Mitty in the Division I final. So St. Francis finishing at third place on the loop, and Homestead in second place. So Lance, we talk about the different matchups tonight. Bree Ahern is in uniform, but it's unavailable to Coach Ernie Dosa and the Homestead Mustangs.
That right away is going to start Homestead at a disadvantage. Hillary Parker's really going to have to step up and play well inside against St. Francis's two big players.
We're talking about that big front line for the Lancers. Heather Goodell Kelly, a 3-year all-league pick in the Neanza division, coming in averaging 9 points and 8 rebounds a game, a 6-foot senior, coming off a very quiet 3-point night in the semifinal win over Carlmont. She's got a big task with Hillary Parker.
Definitely, and Nikki Heil also has been playing very well. I think she had 18 points in the semifinal victory. And as well as Charlie Ryerson and Courtney Keegan have stepped up in the playoffs for St. Francis.
Ernie Dosa, who's back for his third season in a row after taking a 2-year hiatus after a 13-year tenure at Homestead. Ernie said this will be his final season. There's Mike DiCarlo in his third season as the head coach of the St. Francis Lancers. Mike trying to pilot the Lancers to their third ever CCS girls title. He's got plenty of experience on the bench, not only 3 years as a head coach in his own right, but he was an assistant for 2 years for Steve Filios on the boys' side. He also worked with Bill Delaney in the men's program as well, and a player that, when he played at St. Francis, somebody that a lot of the players like you looked up to, Lance, and you're coming up through the ranks.
Mike's done an outstanding job with this girls team this year. I saw them early in the season in the Mitty tournament when they went in and beat Mitty on their own floor, and they've continued to improve and get better and better, so they're looking to finish this off with a nice CCS victory here.
The Lancers, one of the only 4 clubs to turn back the Monarchs this year, who won the Division I championship last night over Monta Vista. In fact, that was a 49-47 win in the Mitty New Year's Classic, and that really shocked a lot of people, and at that time the Lancers ended up being ranked number 1 in the Mercury News poll.
Yeah, they really controlled the tempo in that game, handled Mitty's pressure, something similar that they're going to have to do tonight against Homestead.
We talk about pressure, and I was talking to Ernie Dosa. He said, I've got a team full of midgets. We noticed in the starting lineup, there are 3-5-4 players starting tonight. So one of the things we've got to start thinking about, we want to let the viewers at home know about, is the speed and size mismatch.
Right, Homestead's going to try to utilize their quickness to get into a transition game, up-tempo it. And on the other side, St. Francis, they feel they have mismatches with the guards, and if they can slide them down in the post, they're going to try to dump it into them.
I once heard a basketball coach say when you've got a small team playing against a big team or a perimeter team playing against a post team, it's like trying to race a Camaro against a semi. It's going to hurt more if the Camaro hits you, but or than the semi hits you, but the Camaro is going to go faster. So the road to the Final Four looked like this. Homestead beat North Salinas in their semifinal game. St. Francis beat Leland in the quarters, and then Carlmont in the semis reaching this round. 66-37 was the result of the Carlmont game. So let's check the starting lineups as they come onto the floor. For Homestead, Yvonne Chen, Erin Murakama, Hillary Parker in the middle, Yumi Min, and Michelle Wald. Wald wearing number 14. Averaging 4.8 points a night. Then Courtney Keegan, Charlie Ryerson, Nikki Heil to jump it up. Heather Goodell Kelly and Teresa Guerra, number 44 for St. Francis. The late official Tom Guernsey puts it up and we're underway. Opening tip knocked out of bounds by Stephanie Wald. But Tom Guernsey now says touched by a Homestead hand last. He originally said touched last by St. Francis hand. So Lancer ball in the front court. We're just getting started here at the San Jose State Events Center.
Homestead opening up in a matchup zone here.
Kick inside for Nikki Heil. Back out to Guerra on the perimeter. And for three, that's Charlie Ryerson. So Lancers on the board here in the early going. We're 25 seconds in, and it's 3-0 St. Francis.
Homestead's got to identify where Ryerson is. She can light it up on the perimeter.
Look up top for Wall. Back over to Min on the left wing. Shot clock to 12. Min working with 9. Hillary Parker out on the perimeter, way out of position. Shot clock to 3. Parker has to hustle against Heil, and Guerra there for the steal. So St. Francis creating a turnover on the defensive end, then Guerra losing the ball at midcourt. So Ernie Dosa will try to write a prescription for his club to play a little bit better this trip down. Just inside of 7 minutes to play, 3-0 Lancers. Michelle Wald on the right wing up top for Hillary Parker. Long range shot, no good. And the rebound to Charlie Ryerson.
St. Francis start out in an aggressive man-to-man defense. They got Hillary Parker to attempt a three-pointer, and when she does that, she's not inside to rebound.
Ryerson off the front. Guerra with good hustle grabs the rebound. Nice pass out to the perimeter. And Heil pushed inside by Hillary Parker. And Lance, we talked about Lancers wanting to get Parker in early foul trouble, and right there, a very good illustration of that.
Right, they're going to go right at her, and the thing is they can rotate a few players at her and get her in foul trouble.
The first team foul of the night either way. 6:34 to go, and it's 3-0 St. Francis. Ryerson underneath on the baseline. Now out to Guerra for 3. And a rebound pulled down by Michelle Wall. Wall at 5'9", the second tallest player on the floor for Homestead. Min handling the point. Murakama out on the right wing. Hillary Parker missed a 3 last time down. Now back inside Parker in familiar territory. For the putback, is fouled from behind and gets the roll.
Down to the basket, number 25, Hillary Parker.
Nice shuffle cut by Hillary Parker, moving without the ball. She went up strong, got her own rebound. Here she goes on the shuffle cut, entry pass. She misses the first one, but stays with it and goes up strong for the opportunity for a three-point play.
What I liked about Parker on that last play, Lance, was she stayed squared to the basket and catching her miss. She was in very good shooting position when she caught the rebound to put it back. She ties it up at 3 apiece. 6:07 to play here in the first period. CCS Division II Girls Final coming your way on KMVT. Glad to have all of you with us this evening from the San Jose State University Events Center. Remember, a shot clock of 30 seconds in the girls' game. Kick inside for Nikki Heil. Has it stripped by Min. Min using the mismatch right there. Out in the corner for Walt. Shen handling the point this time down. Look inside, Hillary Parker has it knocked away by Nikki Heil. And it'll be Homestead ball off to the right with 11 to play on the shot clock. 5:26 on the game clock. Homestead looking to break a 3-3 tie.
St. Francis in a 2-3 out of the out-of-bounds play.
Throw inside for Parker. Trying to find it in traffic. She's on the baseline. The last touch by the Lancers. But Homestead's going to have to hustle. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Parker playing the side opposite the ball. Von Chen coming up with the inbounds. Right into Wald. 2 seconds. Loses the ball. Tie up on the floor. And Heil whistle for the foul.
That's a tough call right there on Nikki Heil. It looks like they were both going for the ball. There was only one on the shot clock when they called that foul.
That's the last thing you want to see if you're in Mike DiCarlo's shoes, is to work the shot clock down all the way, then to give him a fresh 30 off a needless foul. Pass for Parker, stolen by Courtney Keegan, and she sets the St. Francis attack into Heil, but through Nikki's hands. I don't know if it's me, but it seems like we've been stuck on 3-3 for a while now.
St. Francis picking up three-quarter court this time. A little man-to-man pressure.
Now inside of 5 minutes to play here in the first period. Out on the wing for Morikawa. Now over to Wald. Parker cuts down to the left block. Von Chen left open, misses off to the right, and the rebound pulled down by Keegan. The 5'9" senior pulling it down in front of the 6' senior Parker. Throw inside for Keegan, double teamed in the post. And last touch by Michelle Wald coming over on the help. 15 on the shot clock as they inbound from the right of the basket.
That last possession was an example of St. Francis sliding their guards down in the post. Courtney Keegan still down there. They can get her the ball in there.
Left open, Ryerson with the miss. Rebound down by Oseguera. Now Teresa Guerra out on a wing. Up for Courtney Keegan. Oseguera trying to feed Heil, has it knocked out of bounds. And right now, Homestead really trying to front that post and frustrate Nikki Heil and not allow her a clear look at the passing lane.
Right, St. Francis has 4 people out on the perimeter with Heil inside by herself. What they need to do is get someone at the high post. It might be easier to get it there and dump it into her.
So Heil getting her first 2 out of a triple team. Breaks a 3-3 tie. 4 minutes left here in the first period. Morikawa from the right wing. Shen over to Michelle Wald. And now Yumi Min comes on to take over the point. Nice look out to Chen on the wing. And it's St. Francis ball. So some changes coming up for the Lancers. Shauna McGlennon on, Heather Goodell Kelly, and Whitney Barker on. So Mike DiCarlo giving a rest to his front line. Charlie Ryerson and Courtney Keegan, the 2/5 that stay on. Here's Ryerson to the baseline, the elevation, and the rebound pulled down by Barker. Courtney Keegan left open. Ryerson for the putback. And if it's on Parker, it's her second.
Homestead foul. Number 14, Michelle Wall.
Ernie Dosa unhappy with the foul on Michelle Wall, but happy it wasn't on Hillary Parker. Difference being Parker's second and Wald's first. 2 free throws coming up for Charlie Ryerson, who was 1 of 2 with 10 points in the win over Carlmont the other night. Chance to put the Lancers ahead by 3. 6-3 St. Francis, 3:20 to go here in period number 1. Yumi Min, the 5'4" senior, gets it over to fellow 5'4" Shen. The ball knocked loose in the corner. Who does it belong to? Homestead. So Tony Ortega and Tom Guernsey having to confer on that one.
St. Francis once again going into a matchup zone when Homestead inbounds it along the baseline.
Parker pushed from behind by McGlennon. Parker way out of position right there, Lance. You know, you'd be surprised with the size disadvantage. You'd think Parker would stay very close to home inside, and they would let the smaller Homestead players work the perimeter.
Right, one thing the small, quick players can do is penetrate and kick it out to each other. And also with Parker posting up, be able to kick the ball out to him for the open three-pointers, such as the one that was just hit right there.
Yvonne Chen, following that advice, ties it up at 6. 2:50 to play here in the first. And a foul in the backcourt coming up on Yumi Min.
Homestead has got to go through Hillary Parker, probably in the post. She can work in there, and if not, then she can kick it out to the shooter spotting up.
Lancers with a fresh 30 seconds to work with. Trying to break a tie of a half dozen each. Nikki Heil steps up for the ball, puts it up. And Hillary Parker, averaging almost 15 rebounds a night, corrals that one. Now Parker works the right wing, waits for a cutter inside. Chen, who hit the 3 last time, surrenders it back to Parker. Here's Michelle Wald. Unorthodox, but it goes down.
Number 14, Michelle Wall.
Good movement by Homestead that last time down. On offense, St. Francis has got to fight through those screens to get out on the shooters.
Long pass for Barker. Now Keegan from the baseline, back to Barker.
Number 40, Whitney Parker.
How do you like that movement without the ball, Lance?
Beautiful look by Keegan along the baseline, finding the cutter down the middle for the layup.
Minute 50 to go, 8-8 is the score. Homestead in the white, St. Francis on defense in the brown. And Parker backs out and shows that she has some
Number
range.
25, Hillary Parker.
Parker with 5 leads all scorers, and Homestead steps ahead by 2 at 10-8 with a minute 34 to go.
That's 3 consecutive jumpers by Homestead without St. Francis getting a hand up on the shooter. They need to get out there.
Cross-court pass for Barker, who scored the last basket for the Lancers. Now Keegan on a drive. Jump stop pass, and the steal by Min. Gotta like that look Mike DiCarlo asked his team to use right there, that little jump stop pass, one of my favorites in the game of basketball. And Homestead, a team that's well suited to do that as well, I think. Here's Min from long range. Back to Min, through traffic.
St. Francis foul.
Here's an example of Homestead using their quickness. The ball's kicked out after the rebound, and she just drives right down the middle of the heart of the defense and gets fouled.
Number 25, Heather Goodell.
So Yumi Min, the 5'4" senior, is a 73% free throw shooter. Showing a little good weaving number right there.
Yumi Min, 2 shots.
I could get her a job as a bike messenger up in San Francisco with that number.
Number 12, Christina.
You might have
Garvin,
noticed
ejected for the
that many
Lancers.
of the Homestead players have some sort of what looks like a tattoo on their arms. Yumi Min has it on her right arm so you can't see it. It's a number 30. They're wearing that in honor of Bree Ahern, who's unable to play tonight because of the injury. 11-8, Homestead with their biggest lead. 45 seconds to go here in the first period. And Barker falls out of bounds. No whistle right there. St. Francis was expecting the call.
Looks like she got a little help on being pushed out of bounds there, but Homestead was in their 2-2-1 press, and you want to keep it out of the corners. That's where they're going to look to trap you.
Game clock at 35, shot clock at 22, not yet a factor. Michelle Wald over to Hillary Parker. Now off the wheel for Min. And the kick. And a reset of the 24. And with 24.6 left on the game clock, Homestead has a chance for the last shot.
Right now they should bring it back out towards half court and play for the last shot and probably try to post up Hillary Parker.
Now with 24.6 left, they should put 24 back on the shot clock. Here's Michelle Wald.
Number 14, Michelle Wall.
She's matched her season average here in period number 1 with 4 points. 10 seconds left. Christine Garma with the ball in the backcourt. Gets it ahead to Courtney Keegan. And she's got a hustle. Looking for someone to pass to. And last touch by a St. Francis hand is Heather Goodell Kelly. Couldn't get her mitts on it. So a second and a half left here in the first period. 13-8. Homestead with the lead in the basketball. And Min will throw it, but after the buzzer. Did draw a little iron though. So 1 period in the books. Homestead served 13, St. Francis 8. We're back your way in a moment on KMVT. Homestead with a chance to extend their lead to begin the second quarter. CCS Division II Girls Championship game coming your way on KMVT. George Devine and Lance Roll. Yumi Min finds Michelle Waltop out to Hillary Parker. Now back to Min. Over to Yvonne Shen, who's already had a three-point basket tonight. Has that partially blocked. Rebound pulled down by Heather Goodell Kelly. And Christine Garma clears the forecourt for St. Francis. Charlie Ryerson gets it up to Whitney Barker. Now baseline for Courtney Keegan.
Number 15, Courtney Keegan.
Nice move along the baseline that time by Courtney Keegan. Got him balanced at the end and finished the shot.
You know, Lance, I saw a head fake in there somewhere. Did you see it too?
I definitely did, and the Homestead player went right by her, and she took a few bounces to the hoop and laid it in off the glass.
Chen, who can be a threat to drive or shoot, finds Parker. Scoop shot. Parker trying to follow the ball nicely. Min loses it in a fight with Heather Goodell Kelly. And it's 2 free throws coming up.
St. Francis foul is on number 12, Christina Garma. First personal.
But Christine
15
Garma
foul.
somehow got
44,
caught in that mess as
Min
well.
At the line for Homestead.
Garma at 5'1", the smallest player in the game. Yumi Min at 5'4", they were battling Goodell Kelly, who's 6 feet.
If Homestead converts this second free throw, they're going to get into their 2-2-1 press. And the purpose of that is, one, is to steal the ball, but also is to use up the shot clock. And by the time St. Francis gets into their offense, they're hoping there's about 15 seconds left on the clock. So St. Francis needs to attack this by trying to get the ball in the middle of the floor.
So Garma out to Keegan, who will clear. The other thing you got to watch is that trap after the clear. And Garma was moving before she was dribbling. Because once you clear, this is something any coach will tell you, that half-court line becomes an extra defensive player.
Right, if you get trapped there, you have no room to go. You're basically covered by 4 defenders if you're near the sideline and half court as well.
I always love free defensive help. 6:36 to go, 15-10, Homestead with the lead. Bounce inside for Chen, backdoor look.
Number 20, Yvonne Chen.
Have we had a Pete Carrill sighting this evening? The former Princeton men's head coach and now the Sacramento Kings assistant would have liked that one. Courtney Keegan trying to get the Lancers back in this one. They're down 7. In the corner. Long feed. Barker waiting for the 3, and the rebound pulled down by Chen. So right now the size advantage not really a factor in this one, as Homestead's had the advantage moving the ball around. And Morikawa answers for 3. That puts Homestead ahead 10. And Mike DiCarlo has seen enough. He takes a timeout.
St. Francis still needs to get out on those 3-point shooters. Homestead's roster is full of people that can come in and hit that shot.
But Homestead, not only a team that can hit that shot.
Here it comes. Nice spot up look, and she buried the 3. That, along with their shuffle cuts and getting continuous motion, they're breaking off free from that and getting quite a few layups out of it.
One of the things I was going to say, Lance, is not only can Homestead hit that shot, but they have a nice job where they can head fake and they'll take that step to the baseline after you commit to defending the shot.
Exactly, especially since they've hit a couple of them early. Now when they're getting it, St. Francis has to get out on the shooters. When they do that, they're able to head fake them and use their quickness to penetrate and drive to the basket.
So when you get the defenders to buy into that step out to the perimeter, you're really creating an advantage for yourself.
Right, and anyone that comes over and helps now, you got Hillary Parker there to dump it off to finish.
So 5:44 to go here in the first half. Right now Homestead twice as good as St. Francis at 20-10.
So St. Francis needs to go back to what was working, and that was getting the ball inside early and not settling just for the three-point shot. They can get that any time in the possession. They want to get it inside first and then kick it out, and it'll still be there.
Nikki Heil is back on for the Lancers along with Teresa Guerrera. Sandy Oseguera also back. So the Lancers getting a little bigger. Heil works the left post, out to Guerra on the right wing. Courtney Keegan, quick shuffle pass for Charlie Ryerson in the walk. Ryerson looked like she stayed open to the passer a little bit too long, and that's where she made her mistake.
She should have stayed outside by the three-point line and given some more spacing. Let the post players operate in that area.
Here's a drive by Wald. The foul coming up on Nikki Heil. And it's foul number 2 for number 22.
Number 22, Nikki
So a situation of the deuces being wild that St. Francis doesn't like.
Here as Homestead comes in transition, the weak side help comes, and instead of going for the block, maybe could have tried to take a charge on that last one.
Number 25, Heather Goodell
So
Kelly replaces
Heil
Nikki
becomes a
Heil.
spectator as Goodell Kelly comes back. Real big loss for the Lancers. And Wald bricking the first. Wald on the year, 63% from the line. And Homestead keeps it. Chen with the rebounds. 5:08 to play. Homestead holding on to a 10-point edge at 20-10. Here's Chen with the push on Ryerson. Murakama. Back out to Chen right now playing game of catch. On the wheel to Parker inside. Can't get the roll. Rebound to Keegan. And she keeps it in bounds. Oseguera has to hustle to it. Trying to run the break. Teresa Guerra picks it up, but she's fouled on the strip attempt by Yumi Min.
Homestead foul is on 44, Yumi Min. Second personal, 4th team foul.
So 2 on Yumi Min, 4 on Homestead, but Lance, you gotta like her hustle, getting back on the transition. That's not exactly a bad foul to commit. Here's Charlie Ryerson, put back by Keegan, and Hillary Parker there for the rebound.
You're exactly right about the hustle from Homestead right now. They're playing with just a little bit more energy. And St. Francis, they just need to pick it up on the defensive end because that will lead to some transition baskets and a few layups.
There was a backdoor look for Yumi Min from Yvonne Chen. Nothing happening though. They had that one planned out. They could have done that in the dark. Teresa Guerra, always a three-point threat. Rebounded Charlie Ryerson. And St. Francis ball off the touch by Parker. So Shauna McGlennon back for St. Francis.
For Teresa Guerra.
So Guerra sits down. Lancers go a little bigger. Moving the 5'9 McGlennon in for the 5'6 Guerra. Keegan denied the look right away inside to Goodell Kelly.
Number 25, Heather Goodell Kelly.
Goodell Kelly using a lot of glass on that one. The Glazer Union would like that. 3:40 to go, 20-12. Lancers down on the scoreboard. Homestead with the ball.
St. Francis needs to try to attack that Homestead zone by getting the ball in the middle like they did last possession.
Hillary Parker drawing the foul on the cut. Goodell Kelly picking up her second. And that puts Homestead into the bonus with 3:29 to play.
Instead of St. Francis getting Homestead in trouble, right now Homestead's doing that to the St. Francis duo.
Hillary Parker on the year, 66% from the line. 1-1 situation coming up right here. Was 4 of 6 in the semifinal win against North Salinas. And the Lancers will try to score off her brick. McGlennon with the passing angle over to Oseguera. And the rebound to Hillary Parker. Gets it out to Yvonne Chen. Race to the basket against 2 defenders. And Goodell Kelly back for the board. 3 minutes to play. 20-12 Homestead here in the first half. Courtney Keegan looking to drive. To McGlennon, to Gagal Kelly. The jump, the putback. Yes!
Out the basket, Courtney Keegan. Homestead foul. Number 25,
Here,
Hillary Parker.
Godell Kelly gets it at the free throw line, and Courtney Keegan gets maybe her third or fourth offensive rebound, gets the putback and a foul.
Free throw line, one only.
The foul on Hillary Parker, her second.
Keegan's been the leader for St. Francis all year, and she's really making the big plays for them in the playoffs. And once again, she gets the rebound offensive putback to get them back in the ballgame.
Keegan with some very impressive credentials. 3 years in a row an all-league pick. Shan works it on a wing for Murakami. Now Michelle Wald over to Hillary Parker. Stepping out, nails it.
Number 25, Hillary Parker.
Parker leads all scorers with 7. 22-14 is our score. Homestead with the lead with 2:20 to play. McGlennon off the bounce, back to Courtney Keegan, back to McGlennon, open jumper. And the rims haven't been friendly tonight to St. Francis. They've had a lot of good shooting looks. It's not a question whether you're getting a good look or a bad look, just they haven't been putting the shots down. Here's Min. Didn't even hit the rim, was all glass. Keegan, long feed ahead for Goodell Kelly. Tries to cross it. And Michelle Wald is there for the steal. The bump, the shot, the putback by Parker. The putback by Wald. Puts it back again. And the foul coming up on Charlie Ryerson.
Lancers foul. Number 21, Shauna McGlennon. Second.
They're going to call it on McGlennon.
Here Homestead gets the ball in transition and just keeps attacking the glass. St. Francis got to put a body on these girls and block them out. They're just trying to use their size, thinking they're going to get the rebounds. They got to put a body on them and clear them out of there. Then they'll get those.
You know, Lance, the basketball coach, you would have just appreciated that last moment, because I thought the foul was on Charlie Ryerson because she came in from behind it. 9 times out of 10, that's the right call. But did you see the little bump in there on the replay by Shauna McGlennon?
Right. With the body, there was a clean block, but there was something underneath.
She got a little elbow in the gut. So Michelle Wald missed the first. 4 points tonight. 6 the second time these two clubs met, which resulted in a 36-30 Homestead win. So two clubs have met twice. St. Francis won the first meeting 42-38, then Homestead, as I mentioned, 36-30. So not exactly putting up big numbers. Rebound pulled down by McGlennon. Stripped by Parker. Homestead a chance to extend a 9-point lead with 1:14 to play, and they blow it.
St. Francis got a good look that last possession. If Homestead's going to come out and trap them, they can look to throw the pass cross court, weak side, and that should be there. They just got to convert it.
Whitney Parker.
Whitney Barker, who hit a 17-footer back in the first corner, comes on for Shauna McGlennon.
Number 11, Chrissy Hirsch checks in for St. Francis.
Chrissy Hirsch up from the JVs also comes on. Chrissy with a double promotion this year. She was also promoted up to the varsity volleyball team for the playoffs. From the junior varsity squad.
Homestead's changed up their zone a little bit. Now they have a kind of a 3-2 matchup, and when it goes along the baseline, they drop into a 2-3.
Keegan can't get them to extend it as Parker is there for the rebound. Inside of a minute to play at 55 seconds. Chance for Homestead to extend the 9-point edge. Michelle Wald off the dribble. Has it knocked away from behind. Homestead will have it underneath with 16 to play on the shot clock. Now, the shot clock really hasn't been a factor here in period number 2. Yvonne Shen. Megan Morikawa. She snuck out behind the zone, nails her second try. 12-point lead for Homestead. Baseline look.
Number 31,
Oseguera.
Sandy Oseguera.
Oseguera with 2 points.
With Homestead now in that 3-2 matchup, St. Francis could look to take advantage of that along the baseline where there's only 2 defenders. They can counter that by putting 3 down there and with someone running the baseline.
8 seconds to play. Chen on a wing. Underneath, Min. Rebound to Keegan. The Lancers have to hustle to get the shot off. Oh, how close it was. So at the half, Homestead 26, St. Francis 16. We're coming right back on KMVT. Second half about to get underway here. St. Francis with the ball. Will try to chip into a 10-point Homestead lead. Original starters out for each club. Teresa Guerra gets it to Courtney Keegan, but not before Yvonne Shin's there for the steal. And the miss on the layup. Michelle Wall the rebound. Out to Yumi Min for the putback. And a foul coming up against Homestead. George Devine alongside of Lance Roll, Lazarus Sargenitas, our producer and director on today's KMVT presentation of the 1997 Central Coast Section Division II Girls Basketball Championship. Michelle Wall with her second personal foul. First team foul of the half on Homestead. As we talked about it in the first half, Homestead trying to press. Sandy Oseguera making them pay for it as she gets back for the easy bucket.
St. Francis was able to break the press that time and actually attack them and convert. They need to look to do more of that.
Inside, Hillary Parker.
Number 25, Hillary Parker.
Parker with 9 points. Paces all scorers. Her club pacing St. Francis right now by 10. Look underneath, stolen by Yumi Min, who's been all over the floor tonight. Homestead really with 4 players who can bring it up the floor. Michelle Wall, who has it on the left wing right now, hasn't been asked to. But on a lot of other clubs, she'd probably be a 1 or a 2 guard. Here she plays basically a 3 or a 4.
You're exactly right. Homestead has on the floor 4 people that can handle the ball. They can all pass and shoot the ball, and they're very quick. Difficult to guard.
Shot clock to 4. Parker pushed from behind by Nikki Howe. Estan Trace. That is her third.
Number 22, Nikki Howe.
That's a tough one to pick up. The shot clock was down to 4. You don't want to reach over the back on that. Probably just let her catch it in front of you and get a hand up. She's going to have an off-balance shot from there.
Here's Heather Goodell Kelly for Howe. The big question right here that Mike DiCarlo faces, when do you bring back Nikki Howe? Do you wait until the 4th period, or do you think about doing it a little bit sooner? Homestead gets a fresh 30 seconds to work with. Out in the corner, Shen for the 3. Rebound to Guerra. Ryerson with the bounce to Keegan. And the foul on Homestead.
Mustangs foul is on 24, Aaron Morikawa. First personal, second team foul.
So Morikawa with the foul, her first. 2 team fouls on the Mustangs, 1 on the Lancers. Ryerson for 3. So she couldn't cut it to a 7-point game, still 28-18. 6:08 to play here in the 3rd period.
St. Francis wants to try to get back in this game by picking up the defensive intensity.
A look up top. Morikawa now in the corner for Chen.
So St. Francis now in a zone themselves.
Min looking to work it into Hillary Parker.
Number 25, Hillary Parker.
Parker with 4.5, 11 in the ball game.
Parker that time got very good position. She got in too close to the basket for Goodell Kelly to be able to stop her. She just has to turn and shoot from there. She's got to bump her out of the lane a little bit more.
And it was a textbook post feed right there, Lance. The nice little bounce pass, the open shoulders and hips to the ball. Here's Sandy Oseguera, has it blocked by Parker. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Charlie Ryerson drives to the hoop and scores.
Charlie Ryerson.
Ryerson with 6, season average of 10, coming off a 10-point game in the win over Carlmont in the semis. Homestead by 10 with 5 minutes to play here in the third period.
Nice drive that last time by Ryerson. Get herself a layup to get going, and maybe that will lead to some three-pointers as well.
Parker fields the block, shot clock to 10. Shen driving baseline, blocked by Goodell Kelly. And Keegan up with the ball, ahead for Teresa Guerra. Guerra was hoping that one would find a friendly part of the rim, but instead 2 free throws coming up for double 4.
Here's where St. Francis, if they can just continue playing defense and rebounding the ball, it will lead to this, which is transition baskets. They've passed the ball ahead very well, took it to the hoop, and they're going to go to the line now. Now they can set up their defense again.
Homestead takes timeout, their third team foul. More importantly, the third personal on Michelle Wall. Right now, Ernie Dosa has a big question. Do you bring Wall out with 4:41 to play here in the third, or you let her stay on and tell her to play back a little bit?
Right, since they're up 10 here with 4.5 left in the third quarter, he could probably afford to take her out a little bit and see how it goes. If they can keep the lead at 10, they can keep her out of the game, possibly bring her back at the start of the fourth, let her go the rest of the way.
Let me ask you, Lance, you've been a player in the CCS, you've coached in the CCS, you've been in many playoff games in both capacities. What do you talk about in these huddles when a player picks up their third? Do you ask them, well, what do you want to change your role defensively, or does it depend on the coach and the player relationship?
It definitely depends on the player. So if Homestead's playing in their zone, they're not susceptible to getting too many fouls, so she just has to be smart. If she gets into a position where she could pick up the foul, she just needs to rely on her teammates to be there to help.
When you get to this time of year, and Ernie Dosa will tell you this as well as anyone else will, that the players are pretty smart. If they've won 24 ball games, if they've gotten to this round, the coaches are pretty smart to get to this round. And a lot of times the players who are seniors, like Teresa Guerra, you don't need to tell them, you've got 3 fouls. They kind of know.
By this time of the year, there's a reason why these two teams are still playing. All these players know what to do at this point. It's just a matter of going out and executing.
Like the last thing I'm sure Mike DiCarlo said when he went in the locker room is, we're losing. Well, the kids can look at the scoreboard. They have eyes. Guerra gets 1 of 2. Lancers within 9.
St. Francis applying a little bit full court pressure themselves, trying to get back into this ball game, maybe getting a quick steal and a couple layups.
Yumi Min works the point. Gets it to Murakama, who had a couple of trays in the first half. Over to Hillary Parker. Remember, Homestead without Bree Ahern. Bounce on a wing. Murakama, shot clock to 6. Lancers looking for a stop. Michelle Wall driving in. And Yumi Min just gets it off before the buzzer. Tie up on the floor, and a jump ball will stay with Homestead. Oh, they call it a travel. Tom Guernsey got in there and overruled Tony Ortega. Ortega was starting to say, jump it up. 4:02 to play. Lancers find themselves down 9 at 21-30. These two clubs split their regular season matchups, each winning by 6 at home. Throw underneath. Off balance look from Ryerson.
Charlie Ryerson.
Ryerson with 8. Lancers back within 6.
Against Homestead's pressure, they're putting Charlie Ryerson in the middle, and once they can break that and get it along the baseline, she can cut to the basket for those layups.
Murakama the cutter with the ball. Min inside the line.
Number 44, Yumi Min.
Min's first field goal tonight gives her 5 points. 3:20 to play, 32-23 is our score. Goodell Kelly off a head fake.
Number 25, Heather Goodell Kelly.
4 points off the bench tonight for Goodell Kelly. Lancers now within 7.
Nice flash into the post area last time by Goodell Kelly. Good feed by Courtney Keegan. Kelly faced up and knocked down the jumper.
And good defense right there by Goodell Kelly, holding on to her position.
One thing Goodell Kelly could look to do when she gets the ball in the free throw line area is to swing it weak side. I think Teresa Guerra can spot up there and maybe get a 3-pointer out of it.
Guerra working the right side as Ryerson drives to the left of the goal. Rebound pulled down by Hillary Parker. You know, I'm really impressed with Parker this evening, Lance. She plays well inside and outside. Right now fighting Goodell Kelly for position in the left post. Nice look from behind. The fadeaway shot not there. Goodell Kelly losing the rebound. And guess who's there for the grab? Hillary Parker. Foul coming up on Courtney Keegan.
You're right about Hillary Parker. She can face up and hit that jump shot even out to three-point range. And inside in the low post, she really takes her time and gets on balance before she goes up with it.
So a fresh 30 seconds coming up off the Lancers' second team foul of the half. For Nikki Heil on the bench with 3. Right now a spectator like all of us.
St. Francis is doing a good job of mixing up their defenses now. They're switching from zone back to man-to-man and keeping Homestead a little bit off balance. They just need to get out there on the shooters now.
Remember, those Homestead shooters do provide an interesting threat out there as Michelle Wald shows inside. Wald usually works the perimeter, but that time posted up. She's actually the power forward today, teaming up front with Hillary Parker. And Parker picks up her third. So 4 team fouls on the Mustangs and 3 on Hillary Parker.
Right now, if you're St. Francis, you got to recognize the fact that Hillary Parker just picked up her third. Look to take it inside and maybe get her a quick fourth.
Number of Division I women's college coaches, which I know are here tonight. Oh, I like that steal by Yvonne Shen. Wald underneath, Murakama, layup, nothing there. Rebound Keegan. And the officials not allowing any interference on the clearouts.
Right, once St. Francis rebounds, the quick guards of Homestead are looking to come in and steal that off the ground. Here's a steal right here by Homestead. Get the ball in the middle on the break and a nice bounce pass. St. Francis hustles back though and pulls down the rebound and is strong with it. When the Homestead guards are going to come in there and try to swipe it away from him.
Murakama called for her second. 5 team fouls for Homestead. Ryerson has 10 points. And all of a sudden the Lancers are back within 5 with 1:30 to play here in the third.
As I mentioned earlier, I think those layups that Ryerson got with moving without the ball gave her a little bit of confidence, and she just stuck that jumper. St. Francis gets a stop here. They're right back in it.
Hillary Parker out of the double team.
Number 25, Hillary Parker.
But Homestead also recognized that, and they went to their player inside, which was Hillary Parker. She made a nice turnaround move.
Shot for Barker off the glass. Homestead will walk it up with 1 minute left here in the third period. Up by 7. Min off a lean. Goodell Kelly loses it to Parker. Von Shen thought about a 3, but then realized the time situation right here. Realized it's more valuable right now to run off minutes than it is to score points from 3-point range. Ball stolen by Courtney Keegan. 27 seconds remain here in the third period. Look inside, Goodell Kelly, blocked by Parker. Ball to the floor. Lancers trying to keep it alive, but a travel is called against McGlennon. 16.5 seconds left. Mike DiCarlo's Shrimps need a defensive stop, down 34-27 here in the third period. So inside of 9 seconds, Wald over to Parker. Shen to beat the buzzer. Underneath for Wald. That's the end of 3 periods. St. Francis shaves 3 points off the 10-point lead, but still trails by 7 at 34-27. So St. Francis hoping they can find a way to pull this one out in the second half. But tonight's game, actually the 9th of 10 CCS championship games played here in the last couple of days. Division 5 yesterday. How about Sacred Heart Prep? Their 6th straight title. A winner over Pinewood. On the Division 5 boys side, Fremont Christian beat the Sacred Heart Prep Gators by 4. And Terra Nova girls. Several CCS championships for them in the 90s, I believe 4. They were a winner by 2 over Menlo. And then Palma out of Salinas. They couldn't win it in football over Saratoga. They took care of Terranova 57-53. All of those games were played last night. Then over on the Division III girls side, St. Ignatius lost to Notre Dame Belmont in a matchup of girls private school league clubs. Then Hillsdale beat Los Gatos in a thriller. That game happened just before ours. Then last night, Mitty upsetting Monte Vista in Division I girls action by 5. And then Milpitas, their first ever CCS title as a school over Oak Grove. So you think Milpitas, one of the schools with the biggest enrollments in the section, would have had a few titles by now, but they don't.
They've had many outstanding teams over there, and they've done very well in the CCS playoffs. And last night, they finished it off with their first CCS title. Steve Moore had an outstanding game for Milpitas.
How about head coach Steve Kane, his first title in 27 years as a head coach. Michelle Wall to the glass, and the rebound pulled down by Chrissy Hirsch, and the foul coming up on Hirsch.
Once again, when St. Francis clears the rebound, they need to protect the ball. Those guards from Homestead are going to come in and try to swipe it. As she gets the ball, she should tuck it under the chin and not immediately start dribbling. Courtney King is right there for the outlet, and she can push it up.
7:40 to go. The fourth period just underway. Lancers down 7, committing their third team foul of the half. Yumi Min works it from the left wing. Michelle Wald calling for the ball out in the corner for Yvonne Chen. Hillary Parker sets up right post, steps in the middle of the lane, makes it look easy.
Once again, Hillary Parker getting outstanding position right in the middle of the lane.
Here's Charlie Ryerson. Cross for Chrissy Hirsch. No one home underneath.
That last possession, Homestead was in a little bit of a half-court trap themselves, caught St. Francis off guard, I think.
For the Lancers, number 22, Nikki
Guess
Heil
who's coming
returns.
back for St.
Your
Francis?
attention, please, everyone. Your attention.
Nikki Heil with 3 personal fouls.
Photography is prohibited inside the event center. No flash photography, please. Thank you.
Not only is flash photography prohibited in the event center, it's also not allowed on Pirates of the Caribbean, which reopened today, down at the happiest place on earth. Just a stone's throw from where they're going to play the state basketball championships at the Arrowhead Pond down in Anaheim. Right now, St. Francis trying to stick Homestead in the mud. Michelle Wald trying to find Hillary Parker. Shot clock down to 9, it's high up on the perimeter. And the jump ball will go the way of St. Francis.
Opening up this fourth quarter, St. Francis is going to look to do something a little different. I anticipate them, after they scored, a full court press, and also in the half court to mix up their defenses, keeping Homestead off balance and becoming a little bit more aggressive, looking to attack off offense as well.
McGlennon inside for Heil, and the block by Parker, her 4th foul. We talked about it in the opening, Lance. Nikki Heil matching up with Hillary Parker.
Right here, Heil had great position on the low block. When she caught it, she turned and went up strong. Got Parker to commit her 4th foul. If they can just go right at her for the next couple minutes, they can get her out of here, and it's a totally different ball game. St. Francis right now has to just stick with it, chip away by pounding it inside and playing very strong, aggressive defense.
Ernie Dosa is yet to make a move to his bench to bring a sub on for Parker, who has 12 points. Coming off a 22-point game. Nikki Heil coming off an 18-point game in her semifinal encounter, with her 3rd point of the night on the 2nd free throw. 36-28, 6:32 to go here in the 4th period.
From looking at the scoreboard, it seems like they might have given that last foul to number 14, which is Michelle Wald. That will be her 4th, so Hillary Parker still has 3.
Either way, it's somebody on the front line in deep trouble. Shot clock to 2. Parker can't beat the buzzer. Rebound pulled down by Ryerson. Long feed for Goodell Kelly.
Heather Goodell Kelly from Charlie
Nice outlet that
Ryerson.
time, looking up court by Charlie Ryerson, finding the open player down the court for the easy layup. Here's where St. Francis is now going to pick up the defensive pressure on him.
Lancers the closest they've been since the 2nd period, down 6. Michelle Wall. Murakami the cutter. The backdoor angle doesn't work. Here come the Lancers. They can come within 3 on a 3. Keegan can't knock the layup down.
This is what St. Francis wants right now. They want this game to become a little more fast-paced so they can get some transition opportunities.
McGlennon whistle for the foul on the dive. She picks up her 3rd. St. Francis with their 4th team foul. 6 team fouls on Homestead. Right now the possession arrow favoring Homestead. Each club has used a timeout, so they each have 3 left.
It's kind of a reversal of roles right here now. Homestead wanted to start out this game by putting pressure on St. Francis, but as it turns out here with 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter, it's going to be St. Francis defensive pressure and full court pressure. It's going to get them back in this.
These teams know each other very well. A very meaningful rubber game here tonight. They split in the regular season, each winning at home by 6. Walled underneath, off the bottom of the iron. Here come the Lancers, led by Charlie Ryerson. Ryerson has 12 points. She found a nice seam on that transition play. Right now, momentum shifting in the favor of St. Francis. And a timeout to Homestead with 4:42 to go. And Ernie Dosa with a lot to talk about in his upcoming huddle.
Award supplier of the California Interscholastic Federation, Herb Jones, the champion's choice.
Good crowd on hand here at the San Jose State University Event Center. 4:42 left in our game between Homestead and St. Francis. Mike DiCarlo and his staff will have watched their club climb back from being down 10 at the half. Right now down by 4. The Lancers with the 6-point advantage so far in the second half. But Homestead with the most important number on the board, up 36-32. Shot clock is at 5. Homestead has to hustle. Min underneath for Wall. And the rebound pulled down by Charlie Ryerson. Long feed ahead, nobody home. She led Standy Osaguera just a little bit too far.
St. Francis came out of that timeout in a 1-2-2 matchup, and now they're going to pick up full court here. Homestead, yeah, good. Nikki Hiles getting back now because Homestead might have been able to get it deep.
I think Dave Casper was the only one capable of catching that post pass. These kids are too young to remember Casper the friendly ghost.
That was goes to the post.
And a bump called against Homestead. St. Francis goes into the bonus with 4:06 to play.
Number 24, Erin Morikawa.
Morikawa with her 3rd. And the Lancers are going to get a chance to score with the clock stopped.
Number 15, Courtney Keegan, shooting 1-1.
Keegan already 0 of 1 tonight, 1 of 2 in the semifinal win over Carlmont. His second free throw can make it a 2-point game. And it had been a 10-point Homestead edge at the half. Homestead stays up 3 for now, 36-33. 4 minutes to play here in the ball game.
St. Francis now in a straight man-to-man.
Eight seconds on the shot clock. Wall to Parker, has it knocked loose. 4 seconds. Murakami has to hustle, has it blocked. And it's last touched by a Homestead hand. The Lancers can tie this time down the floor as they're down by 3. And now Tom Gursey calls to Tony Ortega, and they have a conference on who touched it last.
The shot clock did go off right about the same time as the ball went out of bounds. So even if it was off of St. Francis, it should be their ball with the violation.
So the original decision will stay.
Following the shot clock violation, Lancer sub number 44, Teresa Guerra for Shauna McGlennon.
So if you're keeping stats at home, it's not a block shot, it's turnover.
These St. Francis girls have a lot of heart. There isn't any quit in them, and I knew it was just a matter of time before they picked up their energy level and got right back into this. They just need to execute here down the stretch, get the ball inside and get it to their shooters.
Nikki Heil, opposite side of the floor from Ryerson, who spots a jumper.
Charlie Ryerson, Lancers, call time.
So a timeout taken by St. Francis, and the reason why I said what I said where Nikki Heil was, I thought they were going to pass off a little penetration to Heil, but instead, Charlie Ryerson pulls the Lancers within one on a nice little spot-up jumper.
Right, she's really stepped up this second half. She's gotten a few layups off moving without the ball. She's spotted up against Homestead zone with a few jumpers, and that's only going to open it up inside for their post players even more.
George Devine, along with Lance Roll with you, are at the San Jose State University Event Center. Glad you've joined us tonight here on KMVT. St. Francis Lancers taking on the Homestead Mustangs. And 3 minutes and 17 seconds remain in regulation play of this 1997 Central Coast Section Girls Division II Championship game. So a lot of folks have made the ride over here from the Sunnyvale and Mountain View area tonight. Wonder if there'll be a sig-alerting effect on the way home on Highway 280. Homestead with a fresh 30 seconds to burn, up by 1. Von Shen, who hasn't come out tonight, watching the backcourt, gets it to Parker. Let's see how she handles the ball at 6 feet. And she's hit immediately by Courtney Keegan in the backcourt. That's 2 on Keegan.
Number 15, Courtney Keegan.
Lancers still have a foul to give. So that's their 5th team foul. So that resets the 30-second clock. 3:04 to play here in the ballgame. Now next year, Lance, the boys coaches are going to have to become shot clock conscious as well.
Right, next year the boys are going to have a 35-second clock, which changes the way they're going to approach it in the strategy.
There's a bump right there against Charlie Ryerson. So that was the foul to give. So the Lancers now with 6.
So that's 2 possessions in a row right there where St. Francis had the shot clock down to maybe under 15, and then they committed a foul way away from the basket. If they're going to work that hard for 15 seconds, they just need to carry that through the whole possession.
A couple times they were down inside at 7 and committed a foul to reset it. I think more coaches lose more sleep because of that than any other reason. Well, you could probably think of a few others, Lance. Parker can't find the touch, but Wald finds the rebounds. And Heil there on the second try. So Michelle Wald with 4 personal fouls and 5 points tonight. She's been a capable leader on the floor.
Right here, Coach DeCarlo substituted Teresa Guerra in here for offense. Maybe she can spot up and get a open three-pointer here.
This is where you start thinking about individual matchups, mismatches, and everything else. Long feet ahead for Nikki Heil. They were sending it in Guerra's direction. The Lancers had their geography off. 2:18 to play. Homestead still up by 1 at 36-35. They can extend to 2 possessions with a tray. The steal. Here's Courtney Keegan. The bump, the layup. She couldn't find the roll, but 2 big free throws coming up. And Lance, is it too early to think about an icing situation?
Right here, Courtney Keegan denies the ball, gets the steal, does a good job of using her body to keep the smaller defender off and trying to convert here. She unfortunately had rolled out. Now she's going to have a chance to make these 2 to give them the lead.
Looks like she didn't have the greatest shooting angle to work with either.
Right, she was concentrating more of keeping the defender off her so it wasn't stripped. But by doing that, she did draw the foul and has the opportunity to put the Lancers in the lead here.
What I was trying to ask you was that, do you think Ernie Dosa would have taken a timeout in this situation to ice the shooter? This one is for the lead. Lancers 37, Mustangs 36, 2 minutes to play.
not only the timeout to ice the shooter, but right now Homestead's in a little bit of confusion. They probably need to regroup.
Chen out in the corner. Into Parker. It's had a slow second half. Rebound held on to by Courtney Keegan.
Here's where St. Francis's toughness is taking over. Right there was strong post defense. Courtney Keegan was going to get that rebound. As you can see here, Nikki Heil doing a great job of just holding her ground. Courtney Keegan saw the ball come off the rim and was going to get that. That was going to be her rebound.
Hillary Parker picks up her 4th personal foul. Homestead spends their 2nd timeout. Let's give you a brief little game reset right now. St. Francis with 16 fouls has none to give. Homestead shoots a 1-and-1 on the next St. Francis common infraction. Homestead with 19 fouls, so it's 2 free throws after the 10th for St. Francis. Possession hour right now favoring Homestead. Homestead has used 2 timeouts. They have 2 left. St. Francis has 3 timeouts. Make it 2 timeouts. They've used 1 here in the 4th period. So a minute 42 to play. Once again, we're at the Event Center on the campus of San Jose State University. We'd like to thank everyone from the Central Coast section, Commissioner Nancy Lazenby Blazer, Bill Lamson and Steve Stearns for their assistance and helping us get on the air this evening. Also the great folks out here at San Jose State and the hand they provided for making sure that you get a clear picture. So friends, still a lot of ball game left.
St. Francis 2, Homestead 1.
And Courtney Keegan,
Courtney Keegan, 1-and-1.
who tied it for the Lancers her last time to the line and then put them ahead on the 2nd free throw, a chance to extend a 1-point margin. Rebound pulled down by Charlie Ryerson. The Lancers can go into their half-court game. They're going to pull it out and run some clock.
Nice job by Ryerson there. When she got the rebound, she immediately kicked it out. And St. Francis is going to run the clock here and try to get a good shot.
Oh, the only way to practice these situations is to be in them. Heil calling for it in the middle, and the Lancers throw it away with 9 on the shot clock. Now, Lance, I've always noticed a different frustration level. You throw it away or you take a bad shot, you're really frustrated. You miss a layup, it's not as frustrating in that situation. Remember, Homestead's down 1 with a minute 10 to play. Steal by Ryerson. She glides to the glass.
Number 20, Charlie Ryerson.
Ryerson with 6 in the 4th period gives the Lancers a 3-point edge. Michelle Wall, tripped by Courtney Keegan, will go to the line for a 1-and-1.
I think Homestead's guards are getting a little bit tired from this pressure that St. Francis has put on in the 4th quarter. Right here, Charlie Ryerson anticipates, gets out in the passing lane and converts for the layup.
The big question right now is, does Mike DiCarlo use a timeout? And yes, he does. So Michelle Wald, when we come back, will be in the loneliest place in this San Jose State University Event Center.
There will be a brief award ceremony.
The Homestead cheerleaders hoping to help Michelle Wall hit the first of a very important 1-and-1 situation. And who said pictures aren't worth 1,000 words? Lancers with the lead, 59 seconds left. Michelle Wald can bring Homestead within 1 if she hits 2. But she's got to make the first.
Is at the line for Homestead.
By the way, 1 of 2 tonight.
1-and-1.
But she missed the front end of a 2-shot situation. And she does it again. The Lancers trying to hold on to the ball, and Nikki Heil is on the end line. Homestead gets it back.
St. Francis getting the substitution in here, getting Shauna McGlennon into the game for defense. And they're in their 2-3 matchup now.
Lancers by 3. Homestead does not necessarily have to take a 3-point shot, so they can look for a backdoor angle. Murakama has hit a pair of trays, finds the top and Shin. Now back to Murakama. Double teamed in the backcourt. Gets to Michelle Wall with 12 on the shot clock. Yumi Min from the baseline. Into Wall. And it's a 1-point game. So Wall makes up for missing the free throw. 39-38, 22 seconds to play. Ryerson in the forecourt, and the foul on Wall. She's done. Make the foul on Yumi Min.
Number 44,
Yumi Min with her third.
Here Ryerson dribbles up. They got it to their ball handler, the one that they know is their best free throw shooter that's gonna make these free throws. So she's got an opportunity to push this up to a 3-point lead here.
By the way, that was the 10th on Homestead. So it's a double bonus situation for Ryerson. 2 free throws coming right up. Ernie Dosen not using the timeout on throw number 1. 2-point game. Timeout, Ernie Dosen, Homestead. And Lance, here's the situation. If she hits the free throw, Homestead needs to take a 3.
Right, and Homestead just used their final timeout. So if you're St. Francis, you're just going to defend the 3-point line. If Homestead wants to drive into the paint for a layup, if it's like under 6, 7, or 8, then the clock will just run out. You're not going to have to inbound it. So they just want to play and keep the person in front of you and play the 3-point shot.
Here's a scenario I'm going to throw off you, Lance. How about fouling somebody in a non-shooting situation? You put them on the line for 2 free throws. The worst they can do is tie the game.
Right, and they do have to make the first one also, and then intentionally miss the second one, try to get the rebound and get a putback. And with St. Francis's height, they should be able to come away with the rebound.
That's basketball's answer to the sacrifice bunt.
And also Homestead's guards are a little bit tired. This fourth quarter pressure is taking its toll on them. And shooting the 3-pointers that they did in the first half, it's going to be a little bit different now here at the end of the game without fresh legs.
You know, I've just noticed something looking at my score sheet, Lance. Homestead has not subbed the entire game. They have stayed with the same 5 since the opening tip. St. Francis has rotated 9 players through the lineup. Ryerson can make this a 3-point game if she hits the second. That's why I mentioned if she hits the second, do you foul and put somebody on the line for 2 throws? Then the worst that can happen is you're up 1. Homestead with 17 seconds brings it forecourt. Out in the corner for Murakama. She stayed in bounds but loses it to the Lancers. And Ryerson grabbed in the backcourt. She'll go to the line for 2 more.
So if Charlie Ryerson can convert 1 or 2 of these free throws, the game is virtually over. There's 9.6 left on the clock. St. Francis would have a 4 or 5-point lead. Homestead is out of timeouts, so St. Francis, if they choose, they can let Homestead score and not even inbound the ball.
You ready for some numbers right here? So far in the second half, St. Francis has outscored Homestead 25-12. Ryerson misses the first. Right now, 3 of 5. She hits this to 2-possession game with 9.6 left. 17 points for Ryerson. Homestead bringing it forecourt, the official stop play. Homestead will be charged with the timeout. So Ernie Dosa and his staff will talk things over. They'll get one last look at the bucket with 8.4 left. And Lance, the question is, do they set the clock back to 9.5?
Right now, Mike DiCarlo is talking to his players about the fact that they're just going to defend the 3-point shot. If Homestead wants to drive for 2, they're going to let them go. All they need to do is grab the ball and hold it out of bounds and not even throw it in, and the ball game is over.
We have to let you know about a mistake we just made. St. Francis called the timeout, not Homestead. So the Lancers have 1 left. Homestead has 2.
Right, Mike DiCarlo wanted to quickly review the situation, make sure his players know it, and they're not going to go out and foul. They're just going to stand there, let them score and lay it in, or hit a 3, whatever they choose to do. The ball game is over.
The Lancers poised to win their 3rd CCS basketball title of all time. 1980 and 1990 were championship seasons. And the win here would move them to 26-4 on the year and give Mike DiCarlo his first CCS title as a head coach. 9.6 seconds left though. Min gets it into Chen. 7 seconds. Throw for Parker. Homestead trying to get the timeout in, hasn't called for it. And the Lancers hold on to it out of bounds. They're CCS champions.
The final score, St. Francis.
My question is, Lance, why didn't Homestead try to stop the clock with a timeout?
Yes, they would have been charged with a technical foul, but in that situation, it's much better than having the game end.
Because Homestead could have done a couple of things. They could have asked for the timeout, and since they had used their 4, it would have been a technical. They could have also touched the ball afterwards and gotten the delay of game warning.
Right, they could have stepped across the out-of-bounds line, reached in and grabbed the ball. The referee would have blown it, and the clock would have stopped.
So the awards ceremony in just a moment, and our post-game wrap coming right up on KMVT. Welcome back to San Jose State, where St. Francis survives by 1. They came back from a 26-16 halftime deficit to win their 3rd ever Central Coast Section girls basketball title. Once again, George Devine along with Lance Roll, and Lance, the St. Francis Lancers, shooting 64% from the floor in the second half. And how about this number for Homestead? 23%, 7 of 30. After intermission. That seems to be the difference in this ballgame.
Right, St. Francis really picked up their defensive pressure. Homestead didn't substitute. The girls might have gotten a little bit tired, and it led to easy transition buckets for St. Francis. And Charlie Ryerson really stepped up. She got layups, she got a few open jump shots, and she converted her free throws, and that was the difference for St. Francis, along with Courtney Keegan's leadership.
Here's Ryerson's line for the night, 7 of 13 floor, 10 rebounds and 19 points, and then 4 of 6 line down the stretch. Lancers end up shooting 40% for the ball game, and Homestead ends up shooting 30% for the ball game at 16 of 53. Hillary Parker, we talked about her in the opening, averaging a double-double, got it tonight, 13 points and 18 rebounds. But Homestead really missing the services of Brie Ahern, who was averaging 11.9 points, as Parker was the only one in double figures for the Mustangs.
Right, it's unfortunate that Brie Ahern couldn't play tonight, but you can't take anything away from St. Francis and their effort in the 4th quarter. They picked up the intensity defensively, and that was the difference in the ballgame.
The Lancers were out-rebounded 35-29. They out-rebounded Homestead 35-29 despite 13 by Parker. So the St. Francis Lancers, Heather Goodell Kelly and company, with their biggest win of the year, they improved to 26-4, while Homestead drops to 24-4. These two clubs could see each other again in the NorCal final. St. Francis will likely get a home game for Tuesday, while Homestead will be sent somewhere out on the back roads of Northern California.
Yes, winning this game makes a big difference as far as home court advantage for the NorCal playoffs. And if you are on the road, you might have to travel into a pretty hectic environment.
Some of those small towns, especially when you get into the Central Valley, can bring everybody and his brother out. And you'd think you were in Times Square on New Year's Eve. So Mike DiCarlo will get to have his own recreation of the Crossroads of the World Tuesday night at the Raskow Memorial. Something else to note this year, the home sites will be used until the semifinal round because the Oakland Coliseum is out of commission because it's being renovated this year for the Golden State Warriors. The CIF does not have use of the Arco Arena until the Saturday championship round. So all of these semifinals in Division II will be at home sites. So depending on where the Lancers get seeded, they could have 2 more home games this year.
Right, if they can get a number 1 or a number 2 seed, win in that first round, they can return back home with their own fans there, and they don't have to travel, and they could get them to the finals.
So the St. Francis Lancers win the Central Coast Section Division II championship here tonight by a score of 42-41. Well, it was a championship game and a championship effort from our entire KMVT crew, led by Lazarus Sargenitas, technical director Wendy Fleet. and all of their colleagues who gave us a great effort this evening. For Lance Roll, this is George Devine wishing you a very pleasant good evening. And looking forward to the next time we see you on KMVT Sports.